Alrighty, so today we have invited Alex Standley, or you may also know her as Lux Leopard Lifestyle on Instagram. And she is a personal stylist with 17 years of experience in the fashion industry. And what she does is she helps people, busy professional women and moms, or anybody who feels stuck in a style rut to regain their confidence through their style. And she also helps you adopt a more sustainable and individualized approach to fashion so that you can look and feel good about your style choices as opposed to just looking like everybody else wearing fast fashion items for say. So, okay, welcome, Alex.
Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, I'm going to hand it over to you now.
Perfect, thank you. I'll just share my screen. Okay, can everybody see that okay? Just give me a thumbs up if you can see that.
Yes, we can see it.
Perfect. So yeah, thanks so much for having me today. So I'm going to be taking you through some of my tips to helping you to just get really clear on your personal style and therefore being able to reduce your impact on the planet as well. So let me just click through. So I just wanted to start by introducing myself. So thanks very much for the introduction, Emily. And this is just a little slide a bit more about me. So my background is in the fashion industry since I first started at London College of Fashion. I studied fashion management. It was fashion has always been my passion, and I have worked in the fashion industry as a fashion buyer for about 14 years. I've worked for the likes of Marks and Spencer and Amazon. So I've seen firsthand the way that the trends get created and obviously the impact that the fashion industry has on people and planet. And I think a real turning point for me was when I had my daughter in 2019. And I think as a mum, your priorities change and you sort of reevaluate some of your habits. And I really started to think about the world that I would like to leave behind for my daughter. And I had very much been, like I said, in the fashion industry for a long time and very much influenced by fast fashion and trend. And it became a really important part of my mission and my purpose as a personal stylist to help other women to get off the fast fashion train in the same way that I had done. And to really get to grips with your style identity so that you can really identify what works for you, so you then don't get caught up in social media and trends and everything else because you're stuck in a style rut rather than because you're kind of enjoying fashion. So it's a really important part of my purpose to help other women to regain their confidence and still really enjoy fashion and enjoy, getting dressed, and style should be something that's a really fun and enjoyable experience, but being a little bit more conscious and a little bit more considered in the process as well. And I've put here Lauren Bravo's book, How to Break Up with Fast Fashion, because this was a huge influence for me when I started to change my habits. And it's also a book that I recommend to a lot of my clients because I think it's a really non-preachy, really kind of a great Bible, I would say, in terms of introducing some themes and different ways that we can start to change our shopping habits. So I'd highly recommend that if you haven't read that book already. And another kind of pivotal thing for me was watching Stacey Dooley's documentary. Can't remember what year that would have been, but all around the impact of the fashion industry, and particularly on the use of water and the impact on the planet. So that's another one that I would recommend as well. So just a bit about my work as a personal stylist. So I, as mentioned, I tend to help kind of busy professional women and mums who are stuck in a style rut. And my focus is very much around helping women to regain their style confidence. And I think a lot of people have the misconception that fashion and clothing is just quite frivolous and quite surface, whereas actually there's so much more to it than that. And I think so much of our self-esteem is wrapped up in our wardrobes as well. So my work goes a little bit deeper than just being about the clothes. So I wanted to really break down some of the kind of more psychological things that we have to consider when we're thinking about becoming more conscious consumers, because we have to understand what drives us to go out and buy all the newness and to kind of be on that fast fashion train, if you like. So one of the first really important pillars of the work that I do is all around body acceptance. I think we've all been quite conditioned, at least over the last kind of 30, 40, 50 years, to feel that we have to conform to some kind of beauty ideal and some kind of beauty norm. And I think something that a lot of women and men struggle with is feeling like they don't necessarily fit into that ideal. And so a really important first step is to really try and regain that body acceptance and to really work towards body confidence. And a huge part of that is kind of meeting yourself where you are now and creating a wardrobe that you love that works for you now. Because I work with so many clients that will have a wardrobe full of clothes that they're hoping to fit into one day. And I meet a lot of clients that buy things because they're in the sale and they're a size too small, because one day they're hoping that they will fit into it and they're using it as diet inspiration or that kind of thing. And that kind of mindset can be really damaging to your self-esteem. So a really important focus at the start of working with someone is all around helping them to address some of those mindset problems and to work on really embracing their shape and size as they are now. So figuring out what your body shape is really important part of this, because once you understand your body shape, then you can understand what will fit and flatter the shape that you have now. And particularly as women, we go through quite a lot of changes throughout our lifetime. That can be down to lifestyle, or it can be hormonal, whether you have a baby or you go through the menopause, or all of these different things. So that can have a huge impact on your size and your shape. So really understanding what your shape is and therefore which clothing will suit you best is a really important part of this. And another really important point here is all around size labels. So I work with so many clients who have a real hang up, and it all tends to come back to this kind of idea of this beauty standard and this kind of beauty norm that they've always wanted to fit into X size, whatever that might be. For some clients it's a size 10, for others it's a size 20, whatever size it is that you have in your mind that you think you should be or you should fit into. And it can be really hard to come to terms with the fact that because of lifestyle changes or because of hormone changes or that kind of thing, that you now don't fit into this particular size. And that can make things like fast fashion, more appealing, because you want to go out and buy into lots of new things that you think will make yourself feel better. And a really important part of body acceptance is coming to terms with perhaps being a size that you didn't necessarily think that you should or would be. And one of the tips that I give to a lot of my clients is just to cut out the size label if it really makes you feel that uncomfortable, then to cut it out of your clothing, but also to recognize that, you know, trying to squeeze yourself into something that's too small for you is going to be much more apparent to other people than wearing the size that you're really comfortable in and that makes you feel really confident. So I think all of these things are really important to embrace in order to kind of meet yourself where you're at, and to start to create a wardrobe, a forever wardrobe that you really, really love. So yeah, this is a really important starting point here. And then the second point that I wanted to come to is all about colour. So I could talk all day about colour. I think colour can be such a transformational tool, and it's something that I use quite a traditional method with my clients around colour analysis and a seasonal method. So if you've not heard about this before, then a lot of stylists use a seasonal colour analysis method, which basically relates to the seasons. So summer and winter tend to sit with a cooler skin tone, and then spring and autumn with a warmer skin tone. But one point that perhaps makes me a bit different to some other stylists is that I very much believe that everybody is an individual, and we can't necessarily sit ourselves into neat little boxes. So I think a lot of companies will try and fit you into a box and say, like, you're a spring, or you're a summer, you're a autumn, you're a winter. Whereas what I found through the years in doing this work is that actually people can have colours from all 4 seasons that work for them, because we each have a very individual and very unique kind of combination of hair color, eye color, skin tone, but also your own personal preferences as well. So just because, for me, for example, just because I'm a warmer skin tone and I tend to sort of fit into the autumn color palette, doesn't mean that I can't wear colors from other seasons. So for me as a stylist, it's all about helping you to understand how you can wear the colors that you love, as well as the ones that really suit you. So for me, for example, for my style personality, I've got a bit of an edge to my style personality, and I love black. Black doesn't necessarily suit me. Like, it can really draw out the kind of dark circles under my eyes and all of this kind of thing. But I know what I can do to kind of complement that. So I might wear a brighter or warmer color headband, or I might wear a brighter color lipstick, or this kind of thing. So I'm very much all about the individual and figuring out what it really is that works for you. And this in turn, again, will help to reduce overconsumption, because once you get really clear about, these are my colors, this is what I love, you're less likely to get swayed by this is like the fad color of the season, or this kind of thing, because you'll understand, like, these are the colors that really work for me, and these are the colors that I love and that suit my style personality. So no matter what's going on social media and everything else, like, you're really clear about what it is that works for you. So a few tips on this to consider are: do you have a warm or a cool undertone to your skin? Colors that you're drawn to, what color are your eyes, and what color is your hair? So when we're thinking about this as well, there's like intricacies within your eyes. So for me, I have got hazel eyes, and so I've got quite a lot of green kind of khaki tones within my eyes. So greens and khakis and those kind of colors really do tend to suit me. So when we talk about color, it doesn't necessarily have to be bright colors. Like, take it back to the basics and think about your neutral colors. So for me, like navy, khaki, and camel and rust and things like that will be much better suited to me than white, black, grey, like this kind of thing. So just to show a couple of examples of that here. This is one of my favourite pre-loved jumpers in a khaki, and I don't know how well this will pick up on the camera, but I always get so many compliments when I wear this jumper, and it's such a basic jumper, like there's really nothing that special about it, but it really makes my eyes sparkle because it really picks up the green that I have within my eyes. So even when we're thinking just about the basics, we can be quite clever with the kind of colours that we're looking at. And this will really help you to kind of build the foundation for your wardrobe and to have those really key pieces around like a capsule wardrobe in essence. And this is just another example of, again, really, really basic piece, hoodie, and I've got this in like a bright red as well. And again, it's just kind of drawing out those colors within my eyes with the hazel. So if you've got blue eyes, for example, you might do the same with some of the pieces within your wardrobe to pick out the blues. And often people with blue eyes might be the same. They might have some green tone in there as well. So just really paying attention to your own unique characteristics when it comes to color. Okay, so next point is just all around knowing your lifestyle. And this is going to sound like a really obvious point, which I'm sure that a lot of us do consider, but you would be surprised how many women's wardrobes I go into who are still kind of, because they've got stuck into a style rut, they're still buying into things that no longer serve the kind of purpose that their wardrobe needs to serve for them in their lives. And I think, again, it comes back to changes in lifestyle. So, for example, with lockdown and with the pandemic, we have all had an impact to the way that we dress in some way or another. A lot of people have found that they've been working from home a lot more, so they don't have to perhaps be as formal as they were if they were going into an office environment. And just generally speaking, style has become like more relaxed. So it's really important to consider what purpose do your clothes need to serve, because your clothes should serve you and not the other way around. And how do you want to feel? How do you want to show up to the world? Like, what persona do you need to create? Which can feel like quite a big question, but it's really important. And then what happens in your day-to-day life? Like, are you going to a lot of meetings? Do you have like various different things happening in a day where you need to have a really flexible wardrobe that you can kind of switch between day to evening, like desk to dinner, this kind of thing? Or are you a mum and you're kind of running around after small children, but you also need to feel like that you're pulled together and that you feel really good in what you're wearing. So all of these things are really important to consider. And then you can start to think about how you can maximize the pieces in your wardrobe to work for you. Again, so that you're being a lot more considered about what you are buying into and how you're trying to create outfits from what you've already got in your wardrobe. So I've just shown a couple of examples here in the images of how you can use one dress and then switch up your jackets and your footwear to take it from from a casual outfit to a smart outfit, and from day to evening. And then I've also just got a couple of examples of this on my rail behind me as well. So just using a dress, like a midi dress as an example. Oh, well, you can see this. I'll just adjust my screen a little bit. So in a really casual way, I could really brighten this dress up with a bright colour pop cardigan, keeping it really relaxed, and wearing it with some trainers to keep it for like a kind of day-to-day, making the most of my wardrobe. So not feeling that I have to confine a dress like this to like the smart section of my wardrobe, and being able to think about how I can style it in a different way. But equally, if I wanted to wear this dress for work, or if I'm going to like a networking meeting or something like this, I can smarten it up with a blazer, but I can still add that pop of colour because I love to wear colour, just to brighten it up. But then I could wear it with some heels or some pointed toe loafers or something like this. And then just a couple of other examples here. So thinking about how we might transition things into autumn winter. So this is one of my favorite dresses that I wear year round. And thinking about how we can layer up. So having really useful pieces like this in your wardrobe where you can layer underneath with a turtleneck, and even like jazzing things up as we get into like party season and thinking about Christmas and things like this. You can layer with things which are practical from a warmth perspective, but add that little bit of jazz if you were going out in the evening and that kind of thing. So just switching things up. And then looking at how different layering pieces, so different jackets and things like that, can change the look of something. So for example, if I was to layer this dress with a really casual quilted jacket, and then again still styling with some casual trainers, it keeps it quite relaxed and quite casual. Whereas if I was to layer with a biker jacket, it gives it a bit more of an edgy evening look, and then I can add some heels or some block heel boots and that kind of thing, and that completely changes up the look. So I think one thing that I find with a lot of my clients is that they'll have even if just in their minds, it might also be in the way that they've framed their wardrobe, they'll think to themselves like, right, this is my workwear wardrobe, this is my casual wardrobe, this is my occasion wardrobe. And something that I really come in and challenge is, why do we need to think of it like that? Why can't you wear your blazers with your ripped denim and a white t-shirt and trainers at the weekend? Or why can't you wear that really special dress toned down with a casual jacket and trainers? So really trying to challenge again, like the norms that we've had to kind of become accustomed to when it comes to style and when it comes to fashion. So the next point I wanted to talk about is all about identifying your style personality. So this is really important, and it's the first kind of pillar that I come to when I work with clients on my signature program, because without knowing what your style personality is, it's very difficult to really understand what makes you tick and what you aspire to in terms of your style. So generally speaking, there tends to be 6 different style personality types. So I've just shown 4 of them here just to give you a bit of a flavor of the different style personalities. And again, I'm not about putting you in a box and saying you are just creative. For me, it very much depends on my mood as to how I'm feeling. Like some days I might be feeling dramatic and other days I might be feeling quite classic. And you'll find that you will have elements of these style personalities that mix together depending on your personality, depending on the kind of fabrics that you like, depending on the type of colors that you like, whether you're casual, whether you're formal. And we have to really consider all of these aspects when it comes to style. So it's really important to get to grips with this. So again, you're not going to be really swayed by every single new trend that comes out, because you know that as a classic, for example, that you're very understated and you like clean lines and you like to have a wardrobe that's kind of fit for purpose. So this is, you can't underestimate the power of this in really understanding your style identity. Okay. And this is obviously what so many people talk about when we talk about sustainable fashion, is really the most sustainable piece of clothing is the one that's already sat in your wardrobe. So I've already gone through with you a few examples there of how you can start thinking about maximizing what you've already got in your wardrobe. But I find with most clients that you probably already have the key ingredients to create your signature style sat in your wardrobe. And it's all about, again, working out what lights you up and what makes you feel good. So at the start of each season, I always recommend that clients do a bit of a wardrobe edit. And look at what they're actually wearing, what makes them feel good, what still fits them, what serves their lifestyle, all of the kind of points that I've just been talking about. And then once you've evaluated things, I really encourage you to either have a pile of clothes that you need to have altered for whatever reason, whether it's getting them taken out, getting them taken in, changing up the length of your trousers or the length of your skirt. And then being really considerate around whether you sell things on, or whether you perhaps pass things on to your friends, or whether you donate to charity and that kind of thing. But I think being really clear about why things don't serve you and kind of learning those lessons as well is really important. And often it will just be because, like I said, you've been through a lifestyle change, or the shape and size of your body has changed. And I think it's really important to not hold on to things for too long in that sense. I think there's loads of different ways that you can alter clothing so that it's fit for a new purpose. And I think having a seamstress, or knowing a seamstress that is really has a good reputation locally to you is really important as well, so that you don't always feel like, if a zip breaks, or if something's too long for you and that's why you're not wearing it, so you don't just feel like, oh, I'm going to get rid of that because it's not quite right. Really thinking about what can I do to make this work for me, rather than just kind of having that throwaway mindset. And yeah, just back to the point again about not being a slave to the trends and focusing on what really works for you. So at the beginning of each season, I still absolutely love like the trends, and I love the change of season. And, as we come into autumn, winter, I always get excited about, the boots and chunky layering and all of the things that make the autumn season what it is. But you can be a lot more considered about it, rather than rushing out to the shops to buy into all of these trends that are coming out. Because having worked in the industry for the amount of time that I have, like, you just see how cyclical all of the trends are. And the high street just, then they're not creating newness really. They're just kind of reinventing the wheel. So creating a wish list at the start of each season and really sticking to that wish list is really important when we're thinking about making some changes to becoming a more conscious consumer. So identifying, once you've worked through your wardrobe, a few key pieces that you feel are missing that could help you to pull everything together is really important. And almost having that wish list when you do go out shopping, or when you're looking on eBay or Vinted or Depop, or all of these amazing secondhand sites, and trying to stick to that as much as possible. Not to say that you can't have fun and experiment and all of these kind of things, but just being a little bit more mindful about what it is that you actually need in your wardrobe. And another tip that a lot of my clients enjoy when they're starting to make some of these changes is to, if you're shopping online, taking a screenshot of anything that grabs your attention, and mulling it over for some time before you invest, and thinking about how many different ways you can wear it in your wardrobe. And doing the same if you're out in the shops, kind of physically shopping as well. So just taking a picture of something, and really thinking about, I did this with a Ganni dress that I really loved. I had a picture of it on my phone, and I had it on my phone for a year whilst I thought about it. And it was a really big investment piece for me. And eventually I bought it a year later, reduced in the sales, because they happened to repeat it again the following year. But I knew then that I absolutely loved it, and I'd thought of loads of different ways that I could wear it, and it was something that I still kept going back to. So I knew that it was something that I really, really would cherish in my wardrobe. So I think this is another adjustment that we have to make to our mindset when we're starting to be a bit more considered, is you don't have to have everything right now. I think Amazon is probably very responsible for this mindset in a lot of ways as well, I'm sure. with, you know, having same day delivery or next day delivery on things. But actually there's a lot of enjoyment that you can get out of waiting for things and, you know, saving up for things and really thinking about your purchases. You can gain far more enjoyment from doing that than from that kind of initial buzz of the fast fashion fix that a lot of people refer to when it comes to fashion. And then I think I've already covered off this point around not segmenting your wardrobe into casual, work and occasion, and just making it work really hard for you and just getting really creative and having fun with your wardrobe. So moving on to when we're out shopping. So I have spoken about having your wish list to hand, and I'd recommend like just having this on your iPhone. So like I've got it on my notes section of my phone. So it's so easily done where you forget the things that you've got in your wardrobe. I see it a lot with clients that I've worked with, where they've bought like 5 different versions of the same striped t-shirt or 5 different versions of the same jumper, just almost kind of forgetting that they haven't got it already in their wardrobe. And I think when you really love something, you're always going to be drawn to the same things. And it's so easily done. Like I've even done it myself before. So I think making sure that you're considered and you're focused is really important. And then shopping pre-love first, always. So making sure that as much as possible, like if you are thinking about investing in something new, can you find it secondhand? Because doing that massively reduces your impact versus buying new. And you know that there's so many amazing individual sellers on Instagram that I've come across, aside from all of the usual secondhand marketplaces that I'm sure we're all aware of. There's so many amazing like vintage sellers and pre-love sellers that do such a great job, and they do like live sales on Instagram, for example, which can be really exciting. So you can still get that real buzz and that real excitement from fashion, but just doing it in a much more considered way. And one of the tips that I always share with my clients on this is setting up alerts on some of these apps. So eBay, for example. So an example that I've got here on my rail is this gorgeous All Saints jacket. So last year I identified that I had a bit of a hole in my wardrobe for more of a lightweight jacket. So I think it was kind of June, July time, I set up an alert on eBay for quilted jackets, and I put in some of my favorite brands and colors and my size and things like that. And then I set up an alert for eBay to let me know when these pieces kind of came live on the marketplace. And this All Saints jacket came up and it was £15. So £15 and then a small amount for postage as well, whereas brand new, that would have cost me £150, £200 probably. So I think if you can get ahead of the season and really plan ahead your purchases and think about things outside of the time that other people might be thinking about them. So for me, I was thinking about my coats and jackets in the summer when other people were probably still thinking about their like swimwear and their linen and stuff like that. So just getting ahead of the season can really help with kind of bagging a bargain and finding things secondhand. And that can be the same in charity shops as well. So there's obviously more competition at this time of year for all of the autumnal pieces, but have a dig around and have a look for things outside of the season as well. I think a lot of charity shops will put things out that are current to that season, but there are some exceptions, and it's always worth having a rummage and looking for things outside of the season. And then I think also being really aware of fibres and fabrics, even when you're buying secondhand as well. So thinking about what clothing's made of, so checking the care labels when you're out shopping or when you're shopping online. and as much as possible focusing on natural fabrics, like organic cotton or naturally derived, such as Ecovero, viscose, and things that are helpfully more labeled up now as you go out shopping. But just thinking about, a lot of secondhand pieces can be in fabrics such as polyester and viscose, which can be quite damaging to the environment. So not to say, never to buy anything in those fabrics again, because I still buy pieces in those fabrics, but just to be a bit more considered, and perhaps using like a guppy bag when you're washing things to reduce the amount of tiny little plastic particles that get released into the ocean and into water when we do wash these kind of fabrics, and just being a little bit more mindful about that. And another part of that is also checking where the garment was made, and kind of what ethical and labour policies the company have in place. So there's some really great apps, like the Good On You app is really helpful for this. So they give ratings on various different elements of manufacturing and creating garments. So they'll score different retailers with different scores relating to different elements. So definitely check that out if this is quite new to you and you're not sure. I've made some quite shocking discoveries on some brands that I thought were doing actually quite a good job, and they're really not. So I think there's a common misconception that more premium brands or price points, you kind of think, or that they must be, paying a living wage and this kind of thing, but that's not always the case. So I think it's really important to do your research and really think about who you're spending your money with and where your money's going. And then last point is just all around, getting creative and having fun. As I said at the beginning, style should be something really fun, and it should be something that we enjoy. And just because we're being more considered and we're not going out every week buying into all the latest trends doesn't mean that we can't have fun with fashion. So a few different ideas of ways that you can still do this whilst reducing your impact are hand-me-downs. So thinking about, particularly with kids' clothes, like kids grow out of stuff so quickly, and for whatever reason there seems to be a lot less shame, I guess, in hand-me-downs when it comes to kids than it does with adults, which definitely shouldn't be the case. So I think with children, hand-me-downs are great, so you can pass between friends and family. Like I know I've got a few mum friends who we all kind of pass clothes around within our families and within our friendship circles, and get some of the most amazing pieces between ourselves that we would never pick up going out shopping brand new. And the same in terms of swapping with your friends. So it doesn't have to be that you go to like an official clothes swap. You can, just put a party on at your house and invite all your friends, and invite each person to bring 5 different items along with them, and then everybody gets to try things on. And again, it's a nice way to kind of experiment with your style and to think outside of the box and to find things that you wouldn't perhaps normally pick up by kind of mixing everybody's individual style personalities and trying different things. But also in terms of clothes swaps, if you're going to an event and you don't want to buy something new, but you would quite like to wear something different because you're a bit fed up of wearing the same things on repeat in your wardrobe, messaging your friends and asking, has anyone got an occasion dress or a formal dress that you can wear to an upcoming wedding or that kind of thing. I know I've heard of quite a lot of WhatsApp groups that are just purely for swapping clothes, and I'd love to set one up with my friends. I think a lot of my friends are kind of different sizes to me, but that's my absolute dream, to have almost like an interchangeable wardrobe within your friendship group where you can just swap things. And I've done it with my neighbours in my road, and we all share things handbags and accessories and shoes and things like that for events and things that we have coming up. So just be inventive, and you don't always have to go out and buy something new. You can swap with your friends or family. And another thing around that, around special occasions, is rental. So if you do want to freshen up your style, you can obviously make use of rental platforms like By Rotation is one that I really love, or Her is another one. And if you live in the UK and you're sort of near to London, you can go and try things on from Her. They have a concession in Selfridges where you can go and try things on before you rent them, and you can rent them just for a few days, or you can rent them for a week. So if you've got a wedding or a special occasion coming up, that's also a really good option to think about as well. And then just a really obvious one, I guess, is wash your clothes less often. So get used to kind of spot cleaning your jeans and using more eco-friendly products. Like Wilton's one that I always really recommend in terms of fabric softeners and washing powders and things like that, because that can really help to reduce the kind of harmful impact that our clothes can have. And things like jeans aren't supposed to be washed every time you wear them. They'll actually look a lot better if you let them be a bit more lived in and do things like spot cleaning. So it can actually enhance your style whilst reducing your impact as well. So I hope that's been really helpful and has given some insight to a few tips for you. A way that you can work with me is on my signature program, which is my sustainable signature style solution. And it's essentially 5 styling sessions that are designed to take you from stuck in a style rut to creating this really confident signature style. And we work through a lot of the elements that I've spoken about today. But if you'd like to get some more information on this, then there's a lot more on my website. But I also offer free style consultations that you can book on my website as well. And this is just a testimonial here from one of my clients who did my signature program as well. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Alex. That was amazing. I love the tips. And I see that in the chat box, there is a question actually from Sirisha. So she's asking, how important is it to use a color wheel when matching outfits, and some tips on how to style a belt?
Sorry, I didn't catch the beginning of the question.
Oh, so or you could wait. It's
let
in
me
the
just, I'll
chat
just
box.
open the chat box. How important is it to use
Yeah.
color wheel when matching outfits, and some tips on how to style? So I think I'm a huge believer in not being too kind of stuck on the rules and having to wear colors because they complement each other. I assume that's kind of what you're referring to in terms of the color wheel. I think having a loose understanding of what colors work for you, and then the colors that complement each other, can be really helpful, especially when you're experimenting a bit more with your style. And if you're thinking about, for example, print clashing and things like that, just taking elements of colors that complement each other can be really helpful in that sense. But I think I'm a huge believer in wearing what you love, and throwing out the rule book. So if you love 2 colors together that don't necessarily say that they work together from a kind of formal color wheel perspective, then go for it, because you'll always feel confident and comfortable in things that you love. So I'm a huge believer in that. And then tips on how to style a belt. In what kind of context is that? Is that with trousers, or can you give me a little bit more insight on that question?
Sirisha, would you like to I mean, you could use your microphone to ask, or just feel free to type in the chat box if you don't feel like talking.
I think belts can be a really versatile piece. And I think they're a great way, like depending on your body shape, depends on how you would style a belt. But yeah, if you can give me a little bit more insight into what your question's around. Okay, don't necessarily know how to use a belt plus size. I think they can be a really great way to create definition. So for example, if you're wearing quite an oversized dress, but you want to create a bit more definition with your body shape, you could wear a belt around your kind of where your natural waist would be to kind of pull it together a little bit more and feel a little bit more defined. I always encourage my clients to tuck in when they're wearing trousers, and my clients, I can feel their eyes rolling in their head when I give this advice a lot of the time, because it's something that we all feel quite uncomfortable about, especially if you've got quite stuck in a style rut and you're not feeling very confident with your body. Tucking in can feel like the worst thing in the world, but actually with all body shapes, it's a lot more flattering often than having something hanging over the top. So belts in that way can be quite useful as well, but it is very dependent on what your body shape is as to the best advice when it comes to belts. I think having belts, I've seen your comment about just having a plain black one. I think having belts that have some kind of feature can be really nice as well. So depending again on style personality, like I've got belts with the kind of gold feature hardware on, and that can be something really nice to break up an outfit and to just have a different focal point. And if you're wanting to have the focal point above your waistline, having some kind of gold hardware or silver hardware, depending on your color preference, can be a nice way to break up an outfit.
And I think there's another question from Carrie Ann.
Style personalities. Let me just flick back onto that screen. So we've got creative, dramatic, romantic, classic. There's also natural and chic are the other two that are missing from this list. There's a blog on my website which talks all about the different style personalities. So if you want to find out a little bit more detail around that, then feel free to have a look on the blog section on my website as well. Yes, email is a good way to reach me, and I do work with clients in the US, so I work virtually as well as in person with clients, so I can work globally, kind of all over the world with people.
All right, are there any more questions or feedback for Alex? Feel free to put them in the chat box, or just yeah, if you want to talk, feel free to do that also. I would just like to, this is not a question, but this is just a little feedback of the workshop. And I think it was a really cool point pointing out, talking about how colors can, fit people differently. So for example, I have learned through my mistakes that, over the past few years, nude colors has been quite of a trend. And I also wanted to experiment on that, and it just did not work for me. It washes me off. So I just think it's a very interesting topic, and knowing what colors, fit you or brightens your, your complexion or eyes. It's just really amazing how colors changes how you look, and knowing that makes maybe thrifting or buying new clothes easier, and then you don't repeat the mistakes of buying something that wouldn't fit you on the internet. So I think that's a great tip.
Yeah, definitely. When I do color analysis with my clients, I give them like a physical color palette as well, so that, like you say, when you're going out to the charity shops and things like that, you can take that with you, and then you can kind of look at the color swatches against what they've got in the store as well. So it does help you from, because I think sometimes we can get carried away when things are quite cheap and just think, oh, I'll just buy it anyway because it's in a thrift store and it's a really low price. So actually still being more considered even when you're shopping in the charity shops.
Yeah, totally. I think there are some more feedback from Anne. I'm guilty of hoarding until I lose weight, and I feel you, Anne. I definitely feel this too, and I believe a lot of women out there, feels this way, or yeah, this until I lose weight mentality. This is not having your clothes serve you. This is the opposite, and it's
Mm.
mentally also, it's not serving you. So yeah.
No, I think it's really easily done. Like, well, after I had my daughter, I probably held on to things for a good 6 months or so, and I kept trying them on in the hope that I'm going to fit back into my jeans. And actually, it was really empowering just accepting that my body should change. And I think I sold like my Levi's on eBay, and then I bought a replacement pair and like a couple of sizes up, and it made me feel so much better about myself. And because I think you're kind of metaphorically like beating yourself up every time you're trying things on and they don't fit you, and it can be quite detrimental to your self-esteem. So
Mhm.
I think it's really important to have a wardrobe that serves you.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see from the chat box, Sarisha. Haven't shopped in 2 years plus. That's amazing. Um,
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah,
yeah,
it's
and
definitely
Kilian.
very freeing.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes you just have to let go of these things. And
Mhm.
what I do find guilty myself doing is, buying clothes that don't fit me. But I always tell myself that, once I lose weight, I'm gonna look great in this dress. And
Yeah.
it's just stuck in the closet for years and years, and you never wear it. And
Mm.
when you look at it, it's like you said, detrimental to your self-esteem as well, and you're just hoarding more and more. And
Mm.
this, it's just not the right way to shop, I feel like.
No.
All right, if there are no more questions, or if you want to talk more with Alex, I'm actually going to copy and paste Alex's email and website to the chat box. Let's see. I'm going to do that right now.
On my website as well, you can sign up to my email list, and as part of that, you'll receive my free Luxe Sustainable Style Guide, which has a really helpful brand directory of sustainable fashion brands, and it also has a pre-loved and vintage seller directory as well, and it just helps to give some ideas on when you're out shopping for fabrics and that kind of thing. So check that one out if that's something you're interested in.
That's great. So I posted to the chat box with Alex's email and her website. And so feel free to copy and paste it right now before we end the workshop. And once again, before we leave this workshop, I would like to remind everybody that slow fashion season is still going on. So slow fashion season is actually Slow Fashion Movement's flagship campaign. So what we do is for a month, starting in September, that we commit to not buying new clothes for 30 days. So even though it's already 24th of September, you can still join, and then you can continue this not buying 30 days journey for 30 days yourself. So Pooja actually pasted the Eventbrite sign up page. Let me copy and paste it again as well so that people can use this link to join and sign up. And yeah, once again, Alex, thank you so much for sharing your tips. I think they were lovely and they were actually, things that I can really reflect on when I'm trying to style my wardrobe or when I'm looking to shop for new clothes. So thank you again, Alex. And for those of
No
you who would
problem.
like to reach out to her, feel free to email or have a look of her website. And thank you so much, guys, for joining today's workshop. Thank you, Alex.
Thanks a lot. Take care.
Take
Bye.
care. Bye.
Thank you so much. Really, really enjoyed that. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.